Let's watch this video. I'm really curious about this. He is a Riot director, so it's like he has a really deep knowledge and understanding in the industry and what Palworld means to the industry. So I'm really curious about what he has to say.
So in case this goes viral or whatever, and people,
I think it's already went viral, to be honest.
Or whatever, and people see this video. If you don't know who I am, I'm Mort. I'm a game designer. I've been a game designer for 19 years, 11 and a half at Nintendo.
That is crazy.
7 and a half at Riot. So I've been doing this a while. And
Almost
I've seen a lot of
20 years of
discourse
experience
online about Palworld and like what it means, and people being like, "Oh my God, AI and whatever," and freaking out. It's been pretty bad. And what's really disappointing is just how much misinformation is out there.
Oh, there is plenty.
I'm also I don't know. I'm personally tired of the news cycle that is, I saw this trending tweet, let me go make a YouTube video about it. Even though the trending tweet came from somebody who has no idea what they're talking about. And then that gets perpetuated. And it's just really disappointing. And so I wanted to take a second to talk about Palworld and what it means for the game industry and its success.
It feels like he's talking with Osmond God, bro.
You know, maybe some ways you might consider feeling and things like
God.
that. So,
oh, hold on.
I'm
actually covering him.
One of the things you
No.
have to do is, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. And I know I'm old, I'm 40, I'm gray-haired, whatever, but a lot of people maybe are younger, and maybe this is their first dive into it. So let's talk about making a video game, right? Let's say it's the year, I don't know, 1991, and you're going to make a video
Good
game,
old
right?
days.
And so the first thing you do is you're going to pick,
1990. I was not
your
even born
engine,
yet.
whether that be like a console or whatever. And you're gonna pick your engine here, and we're gonna call it engine.
Yeah.
Engine. Look at that big old text, and I'm gonna make it bigger here. Great. That's not big enough. Great. You got your engine. You got, you're gonna make some characters, some behavior, and then you're gonna make some levels, and stuff like that. And you're gonna a game is a bunch of different parts, right? It's like levels, characters, behavior, enemies, stages, systems. You've got a bunch of parts into game design.
Just like a bunch of things that built on each other.
Maybe items. It could be a bunch of various things. And a game is all of these different parts, right? And so we're just gonna
I feel like
oversimplify it down to all of these different parts
that's
here.
Been dumb.
And again,
what I
this
want to
might
say
be
is like
level art.
I just want to say that everything is like built on levels, so this is totally understandable. Every process, like anything you do, even what I do, it's like I am doing like media and like ad work and marketing stuff, and it's like the same thing, kind of. Not really. We don't choose like engines, but you choose which program you use for stuff and all that shit.
It might be
everything is like built on
level
levels.
Design.
It's really hard to say that what is stolen and what is
be
not when something is
parts.
built on so many levels. That's what I wanted to get at.
System design. Actually, let's do before we do system design. Let's say behaviors.
Okay.
Enemy, AI, blah blah blah. Well, let's do some systems design.
Okay.
It's a lot nuttier, right? And so all of these might have different employees working on different parts and things like that.
Okay.
Now again, let's say it's 1991, and
I just wanted to
made
skip
a cool new game
in making this
for
list.
the Super Nintendo called Street Fighter 2. You did it.
Okay, Street Fighter.
You made Street Fighter 2. You released the game to the world. People are Hadoukening. It takes the world by storm. Good job. You made a video game. That's great.
It was amazing.
Well,
I remember playing it so much.
Is like, cool, you've made a video game.
I was beating up each other with
next?
my cousins. Like
well, your game sells millions, and what happens immediately?
Yeah.
Everyone goes, I want some of that money. I'm going to do that too.
That money. Oh, yeah.
And they make another fighting game.
Yeah.
And for those of you that weren't around in like the 1990s, what happened was you ended up with stuff like this. And this is just an article titled 15 90s Street Fighter 2 ripoffs. Yes, 15. And there were more than 15, right? We got some body blows and some power moves and fighting spirit. Clearly inspired by
and that's good.
Games. And some of you might be thinking, well, that's terrible. It's actually not.
It's really good,
right?
I think it's really good for an industry too. Yeah,
is totally fine. as long as
It like
and this is the important
revigorates
part,
it,
when you're
especially
making
if
your
it's
own
like kind
game
of dying,
called
like
Power
what
Spirit,
Nintendo is doing with
you have to do
Pokemon,
all this work still.
which
You
does the
gotta
same
pick your
shit every
engine,
year.
do your level art, do your level design,
Yeah.
do your characters. You might go,
They have to
my
go through
character's
everything.
name is Bayou and Jen, and they shoot Badookins.
Uh,
You know, if you're not, might not be the most imaginative, but you still had to kind of do the work yourself. And the reason that's okay.
These are like not one-on-one copies. I think that's when people fail to see that so many people get inspired by other stuff, and as we've seen with these things and so many things from this, and I think Mortal Kombat came from Street Fighter 2. There's so many like fighting games that came from this thing that are just making it so big today, and so many other stuff came from like from Warcraft 3 we got Dota. Then from Dota we got League. Bro, what? We got League. We got so much MOBA games that are so good. We got Smite. I kind of like Smite, to be honest. Although the community is, I think it's really toxic from what I seen when I played. But there's so much stuff that came from these things. It's actually crazy.
Okay, is because innovation can happen if
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
like, willing to do it, right? Because
People are
something that
innovating
does
so
matter is
much.
all
How
that
did I
matters
get
is the
ads
end
when I
game
had
is
fucking
good. If the
premium?
end game is good,
What's this thing?
that is what consumers care about, right?
Jesus.
And there was one clone from this era that, you know, really stood out. Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like,
okay.
now, could you debate that it had differences? But it was clearly inspired by Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But they took their own approach. They added
Yeah.
their own hook.
Exactly.
You know,
That's what I was saying.
fatalities and killing and stuff like that.
It's really
And
good.
It was great. It was great, right? Mortal Kombat is a fun game.
A girl
inspired
not
a
playing
series.
this.
It was
It's
good.
so good. Oh my god, I
Should
love
we be
Soul
mad that
Calibur.
Mortal Kombat copied Street Fighter? Obviously not. Obviously not, right? Like, that's a good thing.
Who cares?
Totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's this game called League of Legends that
Oh,
was
yeah.
inspired by, you know, Dota.
Yeah.
So it happens,
And
right?
Dota
This is
came from
happening
fucking
all
Warcraft.
the time in the industry. All
It
the time.
happens.
Someone releases a game.
It's really good.
Other people
They're
are like,
innovating,
that game
they're
was
giving
popular,
cool
I
stuff
want the
to
money.
it.
And they make their own spin.
Yeah.
And what matters
the money,
is if you
bro.
make a quality version,
Yeah.
players will enjoy it. Right?
Exactly.
What matters is you did the work and you built the game.
Yeah.
Now, second part here is building a game is a lot of work. It's continued to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Should you have to do this every time you make a new game? Because man, imagine
I don't
like
know.
you just shipped God of War, you've got all this stuff, and now you have to start over. That sounds terrible. There are times where you can
just
take shortcuts,
copy.
and shortcuts are good.
Take
Let's
the
talk about
shortcuts.
this game.
Copy stuff.
I think this is a great game. Ocarina of Time, right? Ocarina of Time.
Oh, classic
Such a
Zelda.
good
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
You got to play it. It was good. Life is good. No problem. Now, they just finished Ocarina of Time. What do? Do they start over, brand new engine? No, of course not. Instead, what they do is they take that engine, they rearrange some pieces. If we go back to our little diagram, maybe we get some new levels, you know, some new level art, but we keep the characters, we keep some of the behaviors, maybe some new systems design, a new progression, keep the same menu, keep the same engine. You know, we shortcutted a lot of the work.
Yeah, that's
And that's
good.
a good thing, right? It is, because we
They're
get
more effective with
Majora's Mask.
it. Oh my lord.
Sweet. We get another game. That's great. Game devs should be taking these shortcuts, right? So that they can make more games to the products and make really cool games.
Yeah.
And again, as long as the game is good, no problem. No problem.
Exactly.
Elden Ring. Elden Ring's another great example of this, right? Like,
Oh, this
did
is such a
Elden
cool
Ring
game.
get started from
I
scratch?
wish I played it.
No, of course not. Because they had a lot of work and learnings from
But
Bloodborne.
these times of
And
games
they had
are
a
just
lot
not
of
my
work
cup
and
of
learnings
tea.
from Dark Souls, right? Everything is sort of a level up, a learning,
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. It's also why you often see a lot of game devs kind of make the same games over and over, like the same type, is because
Yeah.
they have all their learnings. They don't have to start this process over every single time, right?
I can feel that so much. When I'm making like a website, when I'm like building up like Google Ad stuff or whatever I'm doing right now, or when I'm making a video, when I do a lot of things, having pre-made stuff that you made before, it's such a huge help. Doing any work, if you had stuff pre-made, it makes the process more smooth, much easy. you have way more time to do some other stuff. If you have like a structure designed for something already that you do, be it whatever, building on that good structure that you already made before and adding stuff to it, it gives so much more freedom to do other stuff and so much more time for you that you can like spend on expanding the already good bases, the already good foundations. And that's just amazing.
Having some of those shortcuts to help speed up game development, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Imagine trying to be
and speed, of
trying
course.
to jump into a different space. That's hard, right? So
it
anything
is
you can do to
definitely hard.
speed this up,
Build up
this is a
everything
good thing.
from the zero.
Also, for those who don't know, I'm the TFT lead designer. And there was this game called League of Legends, and we took the engine, we took a couple shortcuts because we had some of the character designs done and things like that. And guess what? We made Teamfight Tactics.
Let's go!
Cool.
TFT is actually fun.
All of this is a good
should
thing,
get back
right?
into
Because
that
all
too.
that matters at the end of the day is players are looking for good games.
Exactly.
You gotta make good games. Development can be hard, and anything you can do to speed up that process to
It's
get more
good.
good games out there, usually a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and here's
you're
where
not
it
stealing
gets
stuff.
a little tricky. There has been this concept because, again, what matters in the industry for a lot of devs, not all, but a lot, is you go where the money is, right? The second anything is popular, guess what? There are going to be clones, there are going to be copies, like we talked about with the Street Fighter. And again, as long as you're making your own, totally fine.
They are
I
very
get it.
bad copies that don't do
There's
anything.
been a common strategy called reskins.
Oh,
A very
yeah.
common thing is like someone will, especially as things have gotten a little easier to develop with engines, where you release a game, say on mobile, like maybe you have a hero collector on mobile. You release it,
Oh my
it
lord.
doesn't do well. You take it, you keep all the same stuff, the progression, the enemy AI, the behaviors, the menus, the engine, the level art, and like maybe you change a character, and that's it. And then you release it again. And you see if that does well. And you do this over and over and over in the mobile space. It's very common to see if you can be the one to get players' eyes.
There are
and get that
so
money.
many mobile
Because again,
games
it
that
circumvents
basically the
90%
same.
of the work
It's crazy.
to do that. And it's a very
It's the
common
same
thing.
shit.
How common is it?
With mobile games, it's so common. I've been playing so many like random gacha games in mobile, and basically, the same shit is all of them is the same. You have dungeons that you have to grind. That's the basic. You have characters that do stuff that you have to build, and you have limited resources to farm for them. Sometimes you have PvP arena, and these are like the base things, and they add on this. There's
Well,
nothing
if you go
more
to
to it.
Fiverr, I could pay $55 for somebody to reskin a game for me. I mean, it's a little gross. It's a little gross if that's all the effort you're willing to put in. But at the end of the day, what
Reskin
does matter
services? What the
is
hell?
the end product, right? So you're probably not going to get a high quality end product with a $55 reskin, but there are shortcuts. Now, this is kind of a quick history lesson, so you might be going, what does all of this have to do with Palworld? Okay. Now, everything from this point on is my speculation, okay? As a game developer, as someone who's been doing this for a while,
Okay.
I'm just going off what I see and what I understand and how games are made. And I'm going to show you something.
I'm curious about
Palworld's
this.
previous game was called Craftopia. And I don't know about you guys, but this is the start of Craftopia. And I'm going to make this big for you.
Okay.
And this is how the game starts.
Yeah, it's almost the
walk
same
up
as.
these
It's
stairs.
really similar to Palworld.
Some long stairs. No big deal. And when you reach the top of the stairs,
This is going to be a teleport
this
point.
happens. Okay,
Oh, no?
What?
No.
I don't know why this went back. Here we go. This happens.
Yeah, this is almost the same word.
Turn, you look at the character, you
Yeah,
look
and
at
the
a
word.
vista.
Huh?
And the title appears.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
This is interesting. That's it's pretty similar. And then oh look, there's a tent over there. Cool. Now, the reason I bring this up,
Yeah, because they
because,
added these things in
again,
Palworld.
if we go back to clones and you're doing all the work yourself, that makes sense. And if I said, hey, Mort, go make a game and copy Breath of the Wild, but you're doing it from scratch. To get that exact same vista, that exact same layout, that's actually pretty hard to do from scratch. But if you have the source and you're reskinning, it's pretty damn easy. And what I'll say is, that looked pretty damn easy. So that's a little gross, you know? And so the fact that they can basically go, hey, thank you, you know, Nintendo or whoever for this. This is mine now, and I'm going to make some stuff on top of it. That's a little weird. That's a little weird. They do that? But here's the important thing. What I will say is, even if they did that, right? Let's say I'm right for a second, and they're like, yoink, this is mine now.
Okay.
The stuff they did on top of it is really good. It's really, really good, right?
It is really good,
you can run around and pick up a Firefox and shoot it as a flamethrower. It's fun.
Honestly, I gotta say, as what I've seen from Zelda and what I've seen from other Pokemon games, I don't think the enemy AI is even close to it, exactly because it has to do so many other things. It is not just fighting. The AI is not just fighting. It does so much more. So I would say this is not it. Behaviors, not it again. Maybe it's a little bit similar, but I feel like the enemy behavior in Palworld is very similar to every other game. If you get closer to an enemy, it kind of like just starts to aggro you. So it's really similar. Character design, I mean, in Zelda you cannot change your character. In Pokemon, I don't think you have as much freedom as you have in Palworld. I would say Palworld's character stuff is inspired or copied, let's say, from Arc. So that's for sure. Level design and level art, these are, I would say, like, similar. I don't know if they use the same engine. I'm not sure. I actually don't know what Zelda and Pokemon uses. I don't know about the engine. The level design, like the map and everything, level art, they're very similar, that's for sure. But it's good, because it gives you a familiar feeling. And then you put everything else on top of that. And the thing about Palworld is, they melded together so many different genres. You have the factorial style, base stuff, and base management. And with the AI becoming better, it's going to be insanely good. If they can fix the pathing, if they can fix like priorities and all that, and maybe we get like a top-down view of the whole thing, like your whole base, for example, and you can like assign individual little pulse to do in the little task. So we have like a menu for that, or like a screen for that, or whatever you wanna call it. That would create a really good like mechanic inside your base and how your pals behave on your base. That would be really damn good. And if you can like draw the petting for the pets too, that's just insane. The potential there. And then over this, and other than this, like factorial style stuff, they'll still have the survival elements. The survival elements in Palworld are kind of toned down because you have the pals. And if you don't use pause, it's kind of hard and really grindy. But if you start using your pause effectively, it becomes so much more fun. It's so much better, per se. What Queen was saying about this is like, he's like kind of sad about like it's really grindy and you have to like look, you don't have to look for real resources or whatever Queen was saying. He was missing the scarcity. But I feel like Queen didn't get to late game too much. Although I would say scarcity in late game is more about like pulsos and stuff, more about like other rare resources, but I don't feel like he sees that yet, because there's a lot of like grindy resources in the early game that you have to get, like the base resources, but there are rare resources that you need to get and rare stuff that you can obtain, which gives you like the dopamine from it. So yeah. And I don't want my base progression to be held back by resources that I don't wanna be happy to find wood and find ore. Those are basic things that I need for my pickaxe and balls. That shouldn't be like that thing. And then the last element, other than the survival stuff, is Pokemon, obviously. The little creature catching or whatever, but you know, we had Digimon too, and we had so many other stuff, and before Pokemon it was like Dragon whatever it's called, that Pokemon copied stuff from. But it's good to get inspired by these things constantly and just grow and add your own twist to it. And the thing is about their like approach to this Pokemon thing, they are really rough about it and really raw about it. You know, with this whole butchering, the killing, the enslaving. It's everything that Pokemon had, but they didn't show. Pokemon is like a PG version of Palworld in that sense. And over that, I enjoy Palworld like combat way more than I ever enjoyed a Pokemon style combat. Like a Pokemon style like turn-based stuff. This style of combat that Palworld has, I feel like it's more suited for this creature thing than the turn-based, for my taste at least. I enjoy it more. Definitely needs some work, although it works relatively fine. If you start to figure out how to work it fine, it can be really good if you figure it out. So yeah, I think this is very far-fetched, even though if it's kind of similar. But I would say they definitely got some stuff.
The fact that you can take your pals and like chop them up and capture humans and Pokeballs.
Oh yeah, the human capturing. It is fun. It's really good. It is a good game.
The end result is a great game. It is. It's good.
Yeah.
So if anyone's like, "Oh, is Palworld a bad game?" No.
I don't know.
It's really good. All the work they did in this section here, thumbs up. Just grade A, awesome work. All I'm saying is this part here, pretty sketch. And here's the crazy thing. Let's say again, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But let's say I'm right. What happens is we see Palworld's success, and again, game devs go where the money is.
Exactly.
This will become the action. This will become the norm.
We're going to see so many Palworld style games.
The easiest way to make games is? It's don't do all this.
Yeah.
It's find something else, take its section, and add a little on top. And that's what we're going to get a lot of.
That's good.
And I know there's a certain bald streamer that like had some really strong feelings about it. But I also know this bald streamer really didn't like back in the day where there was a $25 horse. And that $25 horse kind of snowballed into some pretty interesting parts of our industry, didn't it? So I'm just saying, be really careful when you're like, this is what I want, because the snowball might not be the best thing. If we're going to reward people just going, yoink.
I mean,
it scares the crap out of me. That scares the crap out of me. So
it might be scary, but I mean, change is always scary, that's for sure. But just imagine how much potential some games has, and they just cannot reach that potential. They cannot reach their full potential because the dev teams holding back so much shit. We see that in Genshin, how much potential that game has. It has crazy potential, but they fuck it up. Ark got fucking left in the dust. Ark is full of bugs after years of development. It's just shit. Daisy is only alive because of the modders. The developers of Daisy are doing jack shit. They're doing jack shit. Daisy is only alive because of the mods. And making mods, in a sense, is the same as just taking this and putting this on it. Because of the Daisy mod devs are basically creating new games inside Daisy with the mods. Skyrim is alive because of the same reason. Skyrim is great because of the same reason. This can be considered like a higher level of modding, I would say. And man, it is worth the money. I would pay a full-time game, or at least like $30, like Palworld, for some of the mods that are out for Daisy, that are out for some of these games. There's so many games with huge potential that just never gets there where it could be, because some of the developers are so hard stuck on their idea for their own game that they are just not willing to add what the people want them to add, because they just want to make money, because they have a vision in their head that they want to follow, but they just don't see that vision is flawed, because they're just so hard stuck to it. And people that love their game are telling them that, but they're just not listening. There's so many devs that are just not listening to the people that play their own game and love their own game. So I think this is good. And this is going to snowball into something really damn good. And I understand that it's scary for some game developments, because they're going to be at risk. They should be at risk. Every work you do in your life, you should be at risk. So you do your best. You have to be on your fucking tippy toes. Yeah. Fucking consumer is always right, baby. You make your stuff, you treat them to make the best for them. That's why you are making stuff. Making things, making art is a service to an extent. Making games is a service to some to people. You're making stuff for them to enjoy. If you're making something for people, then I mean, you come like second, kinda. You should be finding enjoyment of people enjoying what you create and what you put out. And if people can put like more or build on what you put out more, then maybe you should consult with them or talk with them, learn from them. Learn from what you missed that people like so much. Nintendo should learn from Palworld, although I doubt they will. I honestly doubt they ever will learn. This is good.
So that's it. And the thing is, I know there's one other component to this, which everyone's going to talk about, which is AI, right? And using AI to cheat some of this. And the reality is AI is a tool. AI is a tool that can be used poorly, and it can be used well.
Oh yeah,
you know,
obviously,
there are going
like
to be ways to do it right, ways to do it wrong. But really, all of it comes back to, if you take somebody else's work, that's where it gets a little gross, right? Because the people who did that work are incentivized to do that work for the rewards. If there are no longer rewards, you're not really incentivized to do this anymore. And so what you could end up with is a lot less interesting games in the future. So that's kind of my quick spiel. But yeah, as far as evidence goes, there are things like this that really bother me here. Noise blast here for a second, but bear with me.
Okay.
Let me rewind a second.
Yeah.
Of course it's gone. Anyway, the sound when you find a new area is basically the same sound as you find a new area here. It's like the exact same sound. And again, stuff like that, really scary. So.
Yeah, it is scary, but it adds familiarity. Familiarity? Oh fuck, I cannot talk. It makes the game like familiar. That's what I want to say. Which is not bad, it's good. It will get people to play your game because they feel familiar with it. I think it is kind of a sneaky tactic per se, like if you wanna like look at it morally. But in my perspective, as someone who casually enjoys games and not wanna compete or not, it's just, I'm not a fanboy of anyone. I don't care who makes a game. I don't care who made the game. I'm not going to fanboy over Riot. I'm not going to fanboy over Valve or whatever. I don't care who makes the game. Only thing I care about if the game is good or the game is not good. That's the only thing. Other than that, it's just pointless. Everything else on top of this is pointless. The game is good, I'm going to play it, and I'm going to tell you it's good. If it's not good, I'm just not going to play it. Riot can make a game, and I'm going to shit on it the same. anyone can make a game. If it's a shit game, it's a shit game. Call of Duty has been shit for years. They are like nothing compared to what like Call of Duty 2 or 4 was. They're nothing to compared to it. The enjoyment of that game is just gone. There's so much stuff like this. WoW was so much enjoyable back then too. I don't like the new style of WoW either. Diablo 2 was freaking amazing in my eyes. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's not. But I would never buy Diablo 4, for example. There's no way. I'm going to play Path of Exile. Just because I think it's
so there
better.
You go. I don't know.
I think it's a
Making
good game.
games, cool. Inspired by other games, cool.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, you got to do the work yourself. That's the important part to me.
Obviously.
And TLDR, Palworld's a pretty good game, but I don't know, man. So there you go.
I feel like even if they copied stuff, it's okay, man. It's okay. And if Nintendo thought they actually copied that much, that he's kind of implying, there would be legal actions already taken. Because I don't think it takes this much time to figure out what's happening. And as we've seen with like Dark and Darker, that it got instantly like taken down. Dark and Darker got instantly taken down almost from Steam after it hit like really high numbers and Nexon noticed. Palworld hit insane numbers and it was not taken down, so I don't think they have the ground for it. I think they built it up from the ground and they made it deliberately really damn similar to give that familiar feeling, to get the Pokemon players, to get the Zelda players, because those players are not satisfied, I don't think. Many of them. I, as someone who really loved Pokemon since I was a kid, playing this game is the best Pokemon feeling I ever had after playing Pixelmon. Because I played Pokemon games back then, and I played with like Pokemon cards and all that shit. And that was nothing compared to the Minecraft Pixelmon mod. Minecraft Pixelmon mod was such a good experience for me that it just overwritten everything else that was Pokemon. That was my standard now. And it was so much fun to play Pixelmon, to be honest. And then this game came, right? And this experience is just so much better than the basic Pokemon stuff. I feel like it's so much better. It added so much stuff that I was missing from those things that it's crazy. So yeah, it's good. I think it's good. It's okay to be scared, it's okay to say stuff, but I think it's good. So yeah, that's it.